The suite looked more like a penthouse than a hospital room. Polished mahogany walls, dim golden lights, a silent orchestra of machines humming in the background. In the middle of it all lay Ethan Caldwell, a billionaire whose name moved markets, but whose body was now slipping away, piece by piece. 20 doctors had tried. 20 of the best. Each one trained in the finest institutions, carrying names that opened doors. They circled him like priests around a dying god, whispering theories, running tests, discarding one diagnosis after another. And still, Ethan's skin grew pale, his hands shook, his breath weakened. But what they couldn't see, Maya Johnson did. She moved quietly, pushing her cleaning cart, dressed in the uniform that made her invisible. To them, she was just another worker, black, a woman, someone who existed to sweep their footprints and vanish before their eyes. But Maya's eyes noticed what theirs did not. The air smelled of antiseptic, of cologne, and something else. Something faintly metallic, sharp enough to make her chest tighten. She froze, her mind racing. Her gaze drifted to Ethan's hands. The yellow tinge under his nails, the subtle gum discoloration, the thinning patches of hair on his head. Her heart pounded. She knew this pattern. She had studied it once, years ago, before life had forced her away from the chemistry lab and into night shifts cleaning hospital floors. She didn't have their white coats, their titles, their privileges, but the knowledge had never left her. Her eyes lingered on Ethan as the monitors beeped and the doctors muttered in frustration. They had all the resources in the world, and yet the man on the bed was dying under their watch. And Maya whispered to herself, words no one else could hear. I see it. I know what's killing him. The next morning, the suite door opened with the smooth confidence of someone who knew he belonged. Richard Hale stepped inside, tailored suit, watch that could buy a house, smile polished like steel. On his lapel gleamed the visitor's badge that made him look legitimate. To the staff, he was just another rich man in expensive shoes. To Ethan Caldwell, he was a lifelong rival who had, strangely, become a constant visitor in his decline. In his hand, Richard carried a small black jar. Luxurious. Imported. A brand whispered about in glossy magazines. He set it down on the bedside table with deliberate care, angling it so that the label faced outward. His favorite hand cream, Richard explained smoothly. The only brand that doesn't irritate his skin. The doctors barely glanced at it. They had bigger mysteries to solve, or so they thought. But Maya, wiping the counter near the bathroom sink, noticed the way Richard's fingers lingered on the jar. Too deliberate. Too rehearsed. Her stomach twisted. She remembered yesterday's scent in the air, the metallic trace no antiseptic could mask. She remembered the yellow nails, the hair loss. And now this jar, dark, sleek, and placed where Ethan would surely use it. Richard caught Maya's eye for the briefest moment. And in that glance, she felt it, the dismissal, the unspoken reminder of her place. To him, she was nothing more than the help, a black woman with no voice in a room full of power. But Maya's mind was racing. She saw a pattern forming, sharp and undeniable. Each time Richard came, Ethan's condition worsened. Each visit, the jar reappeared. Each decline, the doctors grew more desperate. As Richard adjusted his cufflinks and offered Ethan a smile of false sympathy, Maya whispered inside her own head, "This isn't kindness. This is a weapon." At night, when the halls emptied and the world forgot she existed, Maya Johnson remembered who she had once been. 15 years earlier, she walked the campus of Howard University with a backpack full of chemistry books and a future so bright it hurt to look at directly. Professors praised her sharp mind, her meticulous notes, her questions that cut through silence. She had dreamed of toxicology, of solving medical mysteries, of being the one people turned to when no one else could find the answer. But life had other plans. Her parents died in a car accident. 3 younger siblings needed food, clothes, tuition. Maya dropped out mid-semester, folding her scholarship into sacrifice. She took night jobs, cafeterias, offices, hospitals, always the work no one wanted, always the shifts that left her invisible. The dream was packed away like an old textbook, but the hunger for knowledge never died. She devoured medical journals borrowed from the library. She watched online lectures in the glow of a second-hand laptop. She memorized case studies in toxicology while mopping floors. Her degree never came, but the knowledge never left. Still, in the eyes of those with titles and white coats, she was just another black woman in a cleaning uniform. And invisibility became her second skin. That night, as she polished the mahogany counters in Ethan Caldwell's suite, Maya overheard the murmurs of specialists. Autoimmune cascade, one said. Exotic viral syndrome, another offered. She bit her lip, fighting the urge to speak. The symptoms weren't mysterious to her. The metallic smell, the alopecia, the neuropathy, these were textbook signs of thallium poisoning. Her heart pounded. She wanted to shout, "It's right in front of you!" But she had learned, through years of being silenced, that a black woman with no credentials was not a voice anyone in that room was ready to hear. So she kept her head down, her hands moving, her mind burning. And in the quiet of her chest, she whispered, "They don't see me. But I see everything." The alarms pierced the luxury silence at 2:17 a.m. Machines screamed, nurses rushed, and doctors crowded into Ethan Caldwell's suite. His body convulsed, his vitals crashed. The billionaire who could buy the world was slipping into the dark. Maya froze in the hallway, clutching her cart, her heart hammering against her ribs. Through the half-open door she watched the scene unfold. Doctors shouting orders, nurses injecting drugs, monitors flashing in red. Liver enzymes spiking. Neurological response fading. Kidneys collapsing, he won't last the night. Maya's throat burned. She saw it clearer than ever. The progression was classic, undeniable. The nails, the gums, the hair, the metallic air. This wasn't mystery. This was thallium. She stepped closer, whispering to a young resident, "Check for heavy metal poisoning." The symptoms fit. The man barely looked at her. Another doctor cut her off sharply. "Excuse me. This is not your place." The words were knives, cold and familiar. Maya tried again, her voice trembling but firm. "It's thallium. Please. Test for thallium before." A hand seized her arm. Hospital security. The guard leaned close, his voice a warning disguised as courtesy. "Ma'am, stay in your lane. Don't interfere again, or you'll lose this job." Her chest burned with humiliation, but also rage. She wanted to scream at them all. "You don't see me because you choose not to. You don't hear me because of my skin, my uniform, my lack of title. But I am right. And your arrogance is killing him." Instead, Maya let go of the words and gripped her cart until her knuckles turned white. She backed away, swallowing her fury. Inside the suite, 20 experts worked in vain. Outside, in the hallway, an invisible black woman whispered the truth into the void. "It's thallium. And if no one listens, he will die." The hospital settled into its uneasy rhythm again. Ethan Caldwell was stabilized for the moment, though the shadows under his eyes deepened and the monitors told the truth. His body was failing. Maya walked the corridor with her cart, invisible as always, but inside she was on fire. Her knowledge screamed for release. Each beep of Ethan's heart monitor felt like a countdown, each passing hour proof that silence was killing him. That's when she saw Dr. Malik Carter. Younger than the others, his face carried both determination and the exhaustion of someone still proving he belonged. And unlike most in the white coats, Malik was a black man. Their eyes met in a fleeting moment that felt like recognition, like he saw her not just as a uniform but as a person. Maya timed her steps, her voice low but steady as he passed. "Doctor, please. I know what's happening to Mr. Caldwell." Malik slowed, cautious. "Excuse me." Her heart pounded. She thought of her children at home, of the risk, of the guard's warning. And then she thought of Ethan's dying face. It's thallium poisoning. Every symptom matches. Hair loss, neuropathy, abdominal pain, metallic odor. The timeline fits his friend's visits, when that cream appears. Malik blinked, startled. His lips parted as if to dismiss her, but her words held too much precision to ignore. "You studied medicine?" he asked quietly. "Chemistry," Maya whispered. "Howard University. Toxicology track." "I never finished, but I never stopped learning." His eyes searched hers, weighing truth against risk. Finally, he exhaled. "You know if you're wrong, this could cost you everything. And if I repeat this without proof, it could cost me too." "I'm not wrong," Maya said, her voice trembling but fierce. "The man is being poisoned. And if we don't act, he will die." Silence stretched between them. Then Malik nodded once, almost imperceptibly. "Get me something I can't ignore," he murmured. "Evidence. Then I'll stand with you." As he walked away, Maya's chest swelled with a dangerous mix of fear and hope. For the first time, someone had listened. Someone had seen her. But now, the weight was on her shoulders. Proof, or silence forever. The jar of black glass sat on the nightstand like a trophy. Polished. Innocent. Deadly. Maya waited until the change of shift left Ethan's room momentarily unattended. Her hands trembled as she picked it up, twisting the lid with the care of a thief stealing fire. She scraped a thin sample into a sterile container she had hidden in her pocket, an act that could cost her everything if anyone saw. Later, in a dim maintenance room that smelled of bleach and dust, Maya spread out the tools she had scavenged, a few lab supply leftovers, cleaning agents, and scraps of foil. Not much, but enough for someone who had once mastered toxicology labs with nothing more than chalk and a sharp mind. Her pulse raced as she performed the test, simple, imperfect, but rooted in the fundamentals she still carried in her bones. And then she saw it, the color shift, faint but undeniable. Thallium. Her breath caught. Proof. But paper and jars in the shadows wouldn't be enough. She needed courage. She needed to face them all, the white coats, the dismissive eyes, the wall of silence. The next morning, the conference room filled with doctors. Charts glowed on screens, voices argued, solutions collapsed. Ethan Caldwell was dying, and their pride was choking him faster than the poison. And then the door opened. Maya stepped inside, uniform pressed, hands steady despite her racing heart. 20 pairs of eyes turned, many already frowning, ready to dismiss her before she spoke. "It's thallium poisoning," Maya said, her voice clear, unwavering. She placed the container and her notes on the table. "The cream he uses every day is laced with it. The timeline, the symptoms, the test I ran, they all confirm it. And if you don't treat him now, he won't survive the night." For a moment, silence reigned. Then whispers rippled through the room. Skepticism. Outrage. Fear. Dr. Reynolds, the chief, narrowed his eyes. "You are a cleaner, not a doctor." Maya met his stare, refusing to shrink. I am also a chemist. And I see what you refuse to see. The silence deepened. And then, slowly, Dr. Malik Carter rose from his chair. He looked at Maya, then at the jar, then at the patient's charts. His voice broke through the wall. She's right. The pattern is undeniable. Order the test. Now. The room erupted. Confusion, protest, movement. But the tide had turned. The invisible woman had forced them to look. The results came back faster than anyone expected. Positive. Thallium levels high enough to kill, hidden just beneath the surface of standard tests. Orders flew through the air like lightning. Nurses rushed. Vials exchanged hands. The antidote, Prussian blue, was prepared with trembling urgency. For the first time in weeks, Ethan Caldwell's fate shifted. Maya stood against the wall, her uniform blending into the background, but this time no one could deny her presence. She watched as the antidote coursed through Ethan's veins, the monitors slowing their frantic rhythm, his body easing into fragile stability. Hours later, Ethan stirred. His eyelids fluttered, his voice a rasp of sand and air. What happened? The doctors leaned in, ready to claim the story, but Dr. Malik Carter stepped forward. His gaze swept the room, then found Maya. You were being poisoned, he said. And she's the one who saved you. Every head turned. For a heartbeat, the silence was louder than the machines. The billionaire's eyes, clouded with weakness, found Maya standing in the shadows. A faint, almost broken smile curved his lips. Thank you, he whispered, for seeing what they didn't. Applause broke out, hesitant at first, then swelling. The same hands that once dismissed her now clapped, the same eyes that looked past her now fixed on her with awe. Maya's throat tightened. For years she had been invisible, black, female, a cleaner in halls of power that never welcomed her. But here, in the center of the storm, her mind, her courage, her truth had cut through centuries of prejudice. Dr. Reynolds, the man who had silenced her before, approached stiffly. His voice cracked with reluctant humility. You were correct. We owe you an apology. Maya looked at him, not with anger, but with the calm certainty of someone who had nothing left to prove. You don't owe me an apology, she said softly. You owe it to every person you've never seen. And in that moment, the wall of silence shattered. News traveled fast. Security footage revealed Richard Hale slipping the jar of cream into place, his fingers lingering too long, his visits aligning perfectly with Ethan Caldwell's decline. Within hours, FBI agents escorted him from the hospital, his polished smile gone, replaced by the face of a man caught. Motive, corporate sabotage, slow murder dressed as friendship. But the real story was not his arrest. It was her victory. In the days that followed, Ethan Caldwell's recovery became headline news. Journalists spoke of groundbreaking medicine, of cutting-edge science, of a billionaire's brush with death. Yet within the hospital, behind closed doors, everyone knew the truth. It was the black woman in the cleaning uniform who had seen what 20 experts could not. Ethan insisted on meeting her once he regained his strength. His voice was steadier now, though lined with the weight of gratitude. You saved my life, Maya Johnson. The world may not see you, but I do. And I refuse to let your brilliance be wasted. He slid a folder across the table. Inside was a scholarship, full tuition, living expenses, childcare support, for Maya to return to university and complete her chemistry degree. Beyond that, a position waiting in the hospital's toxicology department once she graduated. This isn't charity, Ethan said firmly. It's justice. It's investment. You've already proven you belong where the decisions are made. Maya's hands trembled as she touched the papers. 4 years, her knowledge had lived in the shadows, dismissed by uniforms and skin color, smothered by a system that saw only class and race. But here, her light broke through. She thought of her children, of the nights she spent cleaning rooms while whispering formulas to herself, of the humiliation swallowed, the warnings endured. All of it had led to this moment. "I'll accept," she said, her voice steady. "Not just for me, but for everyone who was told they were less. For everyone who was unseen." Weeks later, Maya walked through the doors of the university, not in a cleaning uniform, but with books in her arms and hope burning in her chest. She was no longer invisible. And yet she carried invisibility with her, not as a wound but as a weapon. It had taught her to see what others overlooked, to notice the details that save lives. Her story spread quietly through the hospital, whispered with awe, the black woman who outsmarted 20 doctors. And as Maya stepped into her new life, her words remained etched in every room she once cleaned. Sometimes the eyes society trains not to see are the very eyes that save it.